in your chat, if you can just say what is the adoption of AI or has actually gone into deployment since the last 5 to 6 years, which we've been seeing AI piloting or pioneering in the industry. What do you think? What is the percentage which has actually been deployed and where people are actually using AI applications?
Yeah, I was about to say actually less than 5%.
Less than 5%. Nidhi says less than 5%. Anyone else wants to take a guess? Shiv says 25 to 30%. Okay, 10%. So yeah. So this is the latest report by Gil Press. He's one of the senior contributors in the McKinsey or in the Forbes articles, and he did a survey, and he only saw 14.6% of the firms who've actually deployed AI capabilities in production. So where data scientists have created models. So Mohit, you were near. So there is only 14.6% of the firms who actually have deployed after experimenting, after deploying, after going through the AI project management life cycle. They've actually been able to deploy it in production, and people are using this. Obviously, AI and machine learning, it learns over time. So yes, there have been improvements, but 14.6% of the firms have deployed AI capabilities. And so you can see there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of space for you to grow into these areas which are trending in the market.
Is there any geographical limitation to this data as well, Harsh?
No,
as in,
there is no geographical limitation. It is across the globe, and US pioneers in the US firms pioneer in the adoption of these technologies. Approximately 7% or to 8% have been deployed in firms who have headquarters in the US, led by Europe, and then led by the other Middle Eastern, African nations. So that is how this entire survey has been done. There has been and now based on COVID and seeing big data evolve, there's approximately 50 million investment by industries, by different companies have been done in big data, and where the AI adoption will increase by 25%. That is the figure which they want to reach by 2023, and of these 39% are actually ramping up their exploratory phase in AI. So you'll see a lot of people getting recruited as data scientists, people who have experience in Python language, or people who at least understand different statistical languages. So you are seeing a huge increase in training, learning, articles, content coming around these areas. Some of these organizations are using pre-built applications like AI chatbots or RPA tools or other things to make adoption of AI easier into this. AI being such a large business, there's one important thing where we need to be more responsible towards the AI. So we need to make sure that AI is ethically and complies with the regulation. Now you do not want any technology which does not comply with a local regulation, be it the California Act, be it the Europe Act. So you need to be compliant with these regulations. You need to keep the privacy of a person safe and secure. That is one thing. You need to have a robust foundation and an end-to-end governance, and it should be free and secure from biases. If you remember, there was a chatbot which was released on Twitter by Microsoft called Tay. It was chatbot which Microsoft had which had released to help people get auto responses based on the learnings which the chatbot had was given. But within 2 days, the chatbot had become a racist chatbot. This was because it had started learning different racist comments which were posted on Twitter comments, and that entire chatbot, which was deployed for helping the customer, now started giving racist slangs to people, and which was removed by Microsoft within 3 days of its launch. So if you go and search Tay chatbot Microsoft, you will see where if you're not responsible towards AI, it can start taking a different shape. Even I think of the Facebook bot which had started decoding or encrypting information. So these are things where we need to be very careful when we adopt AI. But yeah, if you see from the other perspective, AI is set to grow. You are seeing a lot of investments in AI being done by different industry. Different companies are adopting AI in different projects of theirs, and that's why with the amount of data which is available in the market, these will be one of the areas where where you can shape up your career ahead. Cloud part, if you see, most of the industries are now moving towards cloud, be it a public cloud or private cloud and hybrid cloud. But most of the industries which were very stringent on their data security have now started taking those small steps towards moving towards the cloud, because number one, a cloud, you can have an on-demand and on-demand self-service. It is a ubiquitous network available all place. You can sit in India and work for a US customer, US data, if it's on if the data is available on the cloud. And there's no it's and for the end user, it is as pay per as you use. So the amount of data you use, you pay for it. The rapid elasticity, where if you have excessive load in the cloud or excessive consumer traffic on the cloud, how does the cloud itself adopt to that to this load? So you don't need to worry about the major maintenance, or what will happen if I have provisioned the cloud for 25,000 users, if 50,000 users actually visit my website, what do I do? So all these things have actually helped cloud adopt the adoption of cloud to a much faster and better space. And so now you see 29% of the firms are only using on-premise things, but most of them, approximately 70% of the organizations are using cloud in some mode of the, be it an hybrid mix, be it an all data cloud, be it an offsite non-cloud environment, but they are using cloud to some extent. And that is where the DevOps, the cloud engineering and all these things, these are new areas which have opened up. Earlier, it used to be data centers. There used to be a data engineer. There used to be a network engineer, and there used to be server racks which people used to manage. Now with cloud coming in, you need to be an expert in the. You need to at least understand your Microsoft Azure. You need to at least understand AWS, or you need to understand Google Cloud technologies in order to help ramp up those help ramp up your infrastructure on the cloud. So this is one area where you see a career roadmap evolving, the cloud technologies. And most of the organizations right now, be it Microsoft, AWS and Google, they are going into a wide spree of data literacy. There are examinations, there are trainings available for Microsoft Cloud, there are trainings available for AWS, and there are certifications which are being given by this, so that you start adopting and work on these cloud technologies and understand the jargons which are used in these cloud technologies. Cloud comes the security of the organizations, and that is why there has been increasing investments on the security of cloud platforms, so that you can justify why you move the data on the cloud. So that is where you see the cloud is breaking the barriers and creating new avenues and new opportunities in the IT industry space. There was a survey conducted by Forrester showing how long a business user needs to wait for data availability. So there was approximately 53% said they need to wait for days, 4% said for months, 7% said probably a year or more to get some data, and 36% said we need to at least wait for some weeks in order to get the data available for our organization. So this entire mindset is now being changed by self-service becoming a priority, where CIOs, CXOs are now making users or the business users responsible for their at least the availability of data. IT is making them available, and usage of data, where 38% agree that yes, self-service has become a priority. 44% say they agree, and approximately 30%, 13% say it's neutral. They say that no, let IT only keep the data, let IT only do everything. We are okay, we are neutral with it. But you see a large chunk of people want to do the self-service, want to get into the skin of the game, want to understand what's happening in their particular areas, be it the sales organization, purchase organization, want to see which vendor can default, want to see which payment will not come, may not come due to some other external factors. So these are things where business users are now saying, no, I want to look at all these things. Apart from earlier, the mindset was, no, okay, we will see, let the IT report come, let us understand whether it will come or not. But now people are taking proactive steps, and that is where democratization is coming in. So you'll see a lot of CIOs, chief analytical officers, speaking about democratization, where they're making the information accessible to the person as well as the accessible intelligence to the person. So from a technological accessibility, they are making people available with automation tools, with literacy development programs and all those things, and they are making it and for accessible intelligence, they're creating different types of assistants, they're creating different types of virtual assistants to help democratize and empower everybody in the organization. And that is where three major role comes into democratization. That is, one, I will give you the data access. The IT team will give you the data access. You need to understand the data literacy. You need to shape up your data literacy levels, and we will give you the data tools. You need to understand, mix and marry these three technologies or three different circles of in the organization, and create your own democratized power or democratized report in the organization. So that is where citizen analyst roles are evolving, and that is why in the beginning of the session I had said, number one, right now you were being measured by ABC, as, or you would say, yes, I know how to read, I know how to write, and I know the basic alphabets. Okay, that is what makes me literate. But now in the IT industry, or not even in the IT industry, be it in any industry, data literacy has become one of the key trends or one of the key measuring tools for you to move ahead or foray into your careers ahead. So these are things. Anyone has any other views on the citizen role, cloud role, or anyone wants to share their experiences or anything? Now, I've broken these four pillars, or the trends where you are seeing it into different into four pillars, and you can see, for a big data, you can become a data engineer, you can become a solution architect, you can become a database engineer, you can become a data visualization engineer. For a data engineer, as I told you, basic key understanding of data is important. Learning an Excel, learning data extraction, that is important. Once you learn this, you move into a solution architect role. Solution architects are basically creating that entire solution for a data pull or a data or a data pipeline. So these are things where solution architect look into it. Database engineers is again learning SQL, learning SQL, or learning your database jargons, and working on that. And for our data visualization, you can become a Power BI developer, you can become a data Tableau developer or ClickView developer. But basics of all these things is basically learning Excel, learning your different constructs of data things. So what is a sample size, the different formulas which are there, all those things you need to be there. From a data scientist, I think from a smart and more responsible AI, data scientist is one who forays more into Python, or who forays more into learning these algorithms or understanding statistics. So that is where data scientists come in. So they create different models based on the data available. For product and project managers, it is more of understanding basic jargons of what an algorithm does, but it is more key towards stakeholder manager and the project lifecycle management. So these are the pillars for the AI thing. For cloud, if you want to move into cloud and you see cloud as one thing which fascinates you, there are different courses, as I told you, available on Microsoft, on AWS, to understand what is Azure. And believe me, recently my manager, who's approximately 25 years old, 27 years in the industry, even he took Microsoft Azure certification, so that he understands what is the cloud. Because when you go and speak to to customers, one basic trend of understanding is what is cloud, how are we entering, what are the companies adopting cloud, what are the benefits of cloud. So these are things where Microsoft is anyways giving you these trainings and education available. And then you can obviously log into Iris Pro and see the different cloud trainings available to move your career towards the cloud industry, and you can become a cloud architect or you can become a cloud engineer. And for the citizen analyst role, it is more of your digital transformer. So you will see companies adopting digital transformation, and you will see people who are working towards digital as a role of digital transformers. You will see people who are working as AI BI evangelists. There will be trainers who will work in your data literacy levels and data evangelist levels. So these are major areas where you can move into, and it all starts with the major thing, which is data literacy. So if you do not understand what is data, if you do not understand the logic behind why the data is there, you don't understand the logic between two rows or two columns, that is where you need to understand that curiosity of why this is happening, post which you can move into any of these four evolving technologies and make a career out of it. This dashboard was basically, there's a company called Comscore, which actually is analyzing the users, what the users using which app and the time they are spending on that app. That is which I had got. So the data which I had got, and I had to analyze where should I actually invest my money in any of these mobile apps if I want to target a user. So the data which I got was basically the device ID of a customer and the app name, means a mobile ID and the app name which he was using and the number of minutes he was using. This is mass data, but the minutes he was spending on this, and and one column was the gender of the gender, the device ID and the gender. And the company asked me to create a dashboard to understand where should I focus on, and this is the dashboard which I have just created. Using this only, I've tried to evaluate and all those things, because I was very curious whether females are spending time on Pinterest or females are spending time on news articles. So this is the curiosity which happens, and when you want to understand data or when you want to move into a data role. Yeah. With this, I think I'll end my session. Any questions, anything?
Shivdat is asking how much scope for people who are from non-tech background, like sales and marketing. This is actually a question that we get often, and people also want to know what is programming very important?
No. So I am from a non-tech background. I post my MBA. For the last 5 years, for 5 years, I was working into sales. I did not even know anything on. Even I did not even know basic Excel functions. Also, I was just adding the P&L. I was just looking at revenues, and I was just looking at the margins. These are the three things which I had to report to my manager. And whenever the margin dropped below an X percentage, I was sure that I would get a beating, because why has my margin dropped? So I was from a non-technical background, and even right now I'm a non-technical background. A product manager is not a technical person; he's also from a non-technical background. But yeah, you need to be curious. So how did I transform this journey from a sales background? I moved into understanding technology. So from a sales thing, I moved into conversational AI. From conversational AI, my major focus was understanding customer, understanding what technology he uses, and how can a conversational AI system help him. Now, understanding how a conversational AI system helped him actually helped me understand that Google mein there is Dialogflow. Google mein you can use the intent, and these are all terminologies for the chatbot. But intent, what is the intent he's speaking, and all those things. Post which I got interested in data. So there's a lot of data which customer used to give us. These are the transactions which people do, and I want to make sure that the chatbot speaks the correct thing. Based on the data, I got curious and started creating different cuts of it. In the month of May, what is the total amount of sales which he did? What is the in month of February, what was the total sales which he had done? So I started getting curious, started learning Excel. Post Excel, I started learning Power BI, because Excel advanced version or Excel's data visualization is Power BI. And And the major thing if you want to transform this thing is you try to do a hands-on experience. Just learning is not very learning and understanding, taking training is very important, but you need to understand these hands-on experience and hands-on projects which you need to do. And that is where Iris Pro actually, with these hands-on project, helps people scale to that different level. And
just feel free to reach out to us on mail, on phone. You have our contact details, and we'd love to address your queries and help you carve out a successful career in analytics. Right. So I think we can wrap up the session today. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for sparing time today, Harsh, and taking us through the nitty-gritties, which are regular and normal questions to everyone who wants to move into this area. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we really hope you had a lovely session.